going on? What's going on?
Entertain the Geeky.
Hi.
Your grin right there at the last moment there.
Well, it's like one of the weird things about doing something like this is you do things to keep yourself entertained with it because you don't want it to lose its luster.
Right.
So, like, yeah, if that means flipping off the camera on a count-in, I'm fucking doing it.
Well, also, yeah, you gotta, tune in. You gotta put yourself in a different mindset.
You have to become that caricature of yourself.
It's what Stephen Colbert used to do on Colbert Report every night, right?
Yes.
He became the right-wing lunatic. That was the character.
Well, it's so funny. When we started the show, I was talking to a friend about it, and they're like, you're still you on it, but you are a grossly exaggerated version of you. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, it's funny. They're like, it's funny, but it's just, it's weird because then we hang out and you're all toned down.
Right, sure.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess, but.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
funny. I'm just this guy all the time. If you ever wondered out there, this is just the guy I am all the time. This is how I talk. This is as excited as I get about weird nerdy stuff.
Well, yeah, what you
just
see
me
is
in
what
my
you
day-to-day basis here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me it's environmental. Like I'll
you
I'll
definitely
toggle.
get a little
you
get a little more
you get your
enthused.
bumps. You get your bumps.
Yeah during these times.
Okay, so Sony just did a showcase and showed us some super badass Spider-Man footage.
Yeah, the showcase showed a bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff that's not going to be coming until 2024 or beyond. They showed off a new Final Fantasy 16 trailer, which obviously that game looks dark. It looks pretty good. The problem I'm having with that game, though, is it's coming out like in 2 weeks, and I am just not done with Tears of the Kingdom, and so that's going to be on the back burner until I'm done with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's like your baby right now.
Oh, it's the best.
So I can't see you. Are you gonna 100% it before you start playing that?
So what do you mean by 100%? Because I think it's subjective. Breath of the Wild, I 100% completed.
Yes.
But in my definition of that, look, there are 900 Korok seeds in that game. There are 1,000 Korok seeds to find in Tears of the Kingdom. And you can find them all. And your reward for finding them all is a little golden poop.
So you're gonna find them all?
No. Because that's not a worthwhile reward.
What if it's different
for the
this go?
effort? It's not. People have already confirmed. Somebody's already got 1,000 Korok seeds out there, and it has confirmed that no, it's absolutely just a poop again. So the point is, the Korok seeds serve an important purpose within the game. They allow you to expand your inventory slots.
Yeah.
So there is a reason to collect them, but I don't think Nintendo really ever intended you to collect all of them.
Right.
I think Nintendo put so many on the map so that no matter where you were, you could find some Korok seeds. But I don't think that's why the gift is a poop. Like, good job. Thanks for doing all that work. Here's your
nerd.
poop. Right? Like, here's your poop. So, being as how Tears of the Kingdom has 1,000 Korok seeds, again, I don't think you're intended to get them all. You can if that's what you want to do, if you're that much of a weirdo.
Right.
But you only need about 450 or so to expand every slot.
They're like, you broke the game, so now we're going to break you with your prize.
Well, there's, again, expanding the slots is important.
Yes.
But in Breath of the Wild, all you needed was 441 Korok seeds to expand every slot. After that, you're just collecting them for the poop. That's what you're doing, right? So, complete, yes. All my armors will be upgraded. All my slots, inventory slots will be open. All the map will be explored. The map does this thing where as you progress through it, certain areas when you're looking at the map are not named until you get to them.
Okay.
And then it names them, like bridges or specific ruins and stuff like that, or even specific sky islands. So the map keeps a tally of how much of it you have explored, right? I'm at like 53% at this point.
Okay.
But what that means is, like I said, going into every cave, going to every spot on the map. So will I get that to 100%? Yeah. I mean, you should look at, there's a thing in the game called the Hero's Path that shows you the path you've taken through the game world on the map. When you look at my Hero's Path on Breath of the Wild, there is not an inch of that map that's unexplored. Because I'm weird like that.
This is my map, bitch.
And I wanted that thing to say 100%. Right? Like that's why it says 100%.
Right.
Now, so I will get enough Korok seeds to expand everything. I will finish all the side content. But yeah, complete? No.
Okay.
I will complete it to my satisfaction.
How long do you think that's going to take you?
Oh, easily 500 hours or so. I mean, I'm 160 hours into the game, and I have beaten the game. I actually completed the final boss a few nights ago because I just felt like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for that, and I was not ready for that. I'm going to tell you, and we're off topic a little bit here.
We're way off topic, but it's still
at the beginning of the video. But I'm going to tell you, Demon King Ganondorf is like Dark Souls level hard.
He's a motherfucker, huh?
When I say Dark Souls level hard, people out there, you know what I'm talking about. Like, this is a boss that is so frustratingly difficult. Now, I didn't die. I beat him the first time, not knowing what I was getting into, didn't look up any, stuff on the internet, just kind of went for it. But it was hard. And I had 3 hearts by the time I was done. And when I tell you I had 3 hearts, you think, why did you have 3 hearts? Well, couldn't you just refill your hearts? Yeah, every attack that Demon King does to you causes gloom damage, which permanently breaks one of your heart containers. So it cannot be filled again.
Oh, wow.
Until you go to the surface where the light is and purify those broken hearts. Well, you're not on the surface during this boss fight. You're under the castle. So, yeah, it's just, I had 3. Then I couldn't go higher than 3. I had 3 when I won that boss fight.
That's fucking bitching, though.
And he does. This might get into a little spoilery territory, so if you don't want to hear about that, skip a little ahead in the video. We're going to talk about Spider-Man, because we will do that here eventually. He does the things in battle that Link does. He can do the slow motion backflip and come right back at you with his sword. And in the second phase of the boss fight, he does that with every attack. The only way you can damage him is to parry his flurry rush. So he will backflip out of the way of your sword swing and then come right in at you. And you have to, the parry window, I mean, it is a split second parry window. That's the only, you have to stun him with the parry in order to walk up and actually hit him with your sword. Otherwise, he just dodges everything. So fuck that guy. And on top of fuck that guy, that was one of the greatest goddamn boss battles I've ever fought in a Zelda game.
Well, yeah, because typically,
it's challenging.
I was going to say, typically the difficulty level is high. But it's not impossible by any stretch.
Ganon's never been, even Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild, it's not a hard boss fight. It's easy to win. Even if you have to deal with his full health bar, it's still very easy to win.
Sure.
And Dark Beast Ganon, the second phase, that's a joke. You ride around on your horse, you shoot some arrows at him, and then you shoot him in the eyeball. It's a joke. It's not a hard boss fight at all. And that's typically Zelda boss fights, right? The fight against Ganondorf at the end of Ocarina of Time and then Ganon. They're great, but they're not difficult.
I guess I'm still thinking about those as a kid and just how epic they were.
Right. No, this is for real epic. Did you play Twilight Princess?
No, I did not.
Okay, so when you get Ganondorf's in that game, that's actually the last mainline entry where we see Ganondorf, the man. You get into a sword fight with Ganondorf at the end of the game. That's actually really well done. It's epic. It took full advantage of what the GameCube and the Wii were capable of, because it came out on the Wii and on the GameCube. And it's a straight mano-a-mano, one-on-one sword fight, and it's really fun. And so that was what I was looking forward to within the Breath of the Wild engine. What I could not have imagined is that everything about what the Breath of the Wild engine got applied to Ganon as a boss. Like, he can fight like Link. And that's terrifying.
He's a badass.
Link is like, when you do the flurry rush, you're basically, from the enemy's perspective, the Flash for a second. You dodge, because we see it in slow motion, but imagine the perspective of the monster that he's fighting.
Right.
He's moving like the Flash, and then he comes in and just starts wailing on you with his sword real fast. Yeah, Ganondorf can do that.
And he does it to you, and you're like,
and
man,
he does it
fuck
with
you.
every attack.
Okay, back to Spider-Man.
Yes.
Back to Spider-Man.
Sorry, I got
No,
frustrated.
that's okay. I get it.
Great ending, though. Great ending.
So Sony does their thing. They do their thing. And
they showed off some stuff, and they ended it with finally Spider-Man 2. And we come in on a jungle scene with like a guy who's like clearly hunting someone, and you assume it's Kraven.
Yeah.
Because we heard that Kraven was going to be in the game. Kraven, the voice actor for Kraven, actually narrated that first teaser. That was his narration. So this had a little bit of Russian, a little bit of a Eastern European accent. There, right? But then, so you see him kind of notice a target, and he like pulls his knife out, and he walks up, and then you hear him say, you've gotten slow in your old age, Sergey. And he stabs at a thing that's not there. And then the camera pans back to Kraven standing behind him. The real Kraven, the
hunting him.
Yeah, the full-on leopard print, big furry collar.
Eyeball nipples? No?
No, I don't think they did the lion face this time. I think they just did the leopard print.
Okay.
But, yeah, just looking. I mean, he's instantly recognizable.
Right.
I thought the other guy was Kraven because I was like, yeah, I figured we'll redesign some of the characters.
Sure.
And the characters in the first game didn't look exactly like I expected them to, but they still looked cool.
Right.
But no, when you see Kraven, no, it's like it's Kraven.
Yeah.
Little gray in his temples and everything. I mean, like it's Kraven. And he says to some guys that you don't see at first, but they kind of pop out of the jungle, you told me this was a great warrior. He has failed me, right? And his homie comes up and like hands him a little data pad and is like, so maybe a new hunting ground is what's needed. And they show footage of New York. They show Spider-Man. They show Black Cat. They show what happened with Octavius. All of these crazy, super-powered people that are going to be a challenge to hunt. So then we cut to months later, Kraven's team closing in on Peter's home. Aunt May's home, or former home. God. Ugh. R.I.P. Aunt May. They did that quick. They got all that family shit out of the way real quick in Spider-Man.
Now nothing's holding you down, Pete.
Yeah. And then we see the symbiote Spider-Man explode from the cellar.
Oh, yeah.
And go into combat. And symbiote Spider-Man is brutal. And the whole time, Peter in the original game, the whole time was talking and quipping and saying different things. And that was great. That was one of those things like as Spider-Man fans were like, yeah, of course that's what he's doing. He's a goofy guy. His little quipping is gone in place of like this rage-filled dialogue. Like, you came to my house. Like, he's just angry. And you see that reflected in how he attacks, right? The symbiote is brutal. Like, Spider-Man is a guy that doesn't like killing people. He doesn't want to kill people. He tries not to kill people. He's killed people, right? But he tries not to. No, this Spider-Man clearly has no regard for their lives. And that's beautiful, right? That's the symbiote kind of enhancing all the wrong parts of Peter's personality.
Taking over. It's the possession at that point,
Yeah. And so, yeah, we see it fight. I mean, he easily destroys. He takes out, at one point, a whole group of dudes in one attack, right? He's like, you can see like some meter building. And when he does this attack, it instantly knocks out one guy, but then it like area of effects everybody else. And they all just go down. I was just like, what?
So the symbiote footage is, I think, all I saw of the trailer.
It's good footage.
And it was badass. Yeah. I was like, holy shit. Well, at first I thought it was I thought they were going to be doing it in a Spidey movie. I was like, whoa, didn't see this coming.
Yeah, no.
And then I was like, oh, it's gameplay.
It's a video
gameplay.
Game, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
Yeah, the gameplay is quite impressive. But then when you get to the end of the fight, he like hears something over the radio like about how Kraven's guys have spotted the lizard in the Upper West Side. And he's like in Queens. He's like, oh, I'm never going to make it there in time. And the little prompt comes up on screen. Square, switch to Miles. Right, and then we switch to Miles, and Peter like tells him what's going on, and then you take off as Miles toward the danger, right? And you're swinging through the city as Miles, which I love. I can't wait to kind of switch between them on the fly. To well, you can handle stuff here, and I can handle stuff here. I love that idea. Like,
do your Spidey toggle?
Yeah, I love that. I'm very excited about that. So then a chase scene ensues. Kraven's people are chasing Lizard. Miles is chasing Lizard and Peter is chasing Kraven's people because we start off as Miles and we get into the chase. Well, then Peter shows up eventually, right? It's, he's on the way, right? From Queens. And then throughout this like big chase cinematic set piece, the perspective shifts a couple of times between Peter and Miles for different parts. You can do the little Spidey wing glide now.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That changes everything about traversal right there, man. Like, look, swinging around New York in the original two games is brilliant. They finally nailed feeling like Spider-Man, but adding in the wingsuit, allowing me to like get some altitude with my webs and then just glide along, like, I can't wait to do that. I'm so excited about that. And then it culminates in a battle with the two characters. And it seems like they'll have joint moves, right? Maybe you'll be able to switch between them in battle, or maybe it'll be an automatic thing. I'm not really sure yet how much control you're going to have in that regard. But they clearly have team abilities similar to like Batman Arkham Knight, where Nightwing or Robin or Catwoman would kind of join in for certain sections, which was fun. It was always like a fun little battle to kind of switch between the two of them. Looking at how both of them fight, and now we're looking at Peter in a symbiote. So he obviously has access to different abilities during that time within the game's narrative, but they still look like they fight very differently from each other. So it's not going to have that problem most games like that have, where the characters just kind of feel very samey.
Right.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate had two protagonists, a brother and sister.
Yeah.
And you could switch between them on the fly and do different missions, but they both kind of had the same moves, right? They felt very samey. And that can be a problem in games like that. So I think they're going to avoid that problem because Miles' powers are very different already, right? With the Venom sting and the invisibility and stuff like that. It looks like they're expanding upon that quite a bit to kind of make them feel very distinct from each other. But it culminates in, them like pulling a chopper out of, or a drone out of the sky, or destroying a drone or something with this little team up move. And then Lizard gets away, and Peter's pissed, right? Like, and we see the anger kind of seething from the symbiote. Oh, he got away. And Miles is like, nah, I got a tracker. I got the tracker on him. And Peter just snatches it away from him. And he goes, I'm going after him. And Miles says, you sure you want to do that by yourself, Pete? Like, he's got big teeth. And Peter says, so do I. And he swings off. And Miles is talking to Genki, his buddy, his confidant, about what's going on. And Genki says, is he always like that? And Miles' response is, no, he's never like that. And so right away, yeah, that's where the footage stops. But so right away, we're showing a big action set piece that's probably somewhere in the middle of the game. Right? It's probably nothing to do with the beginning or the end. But it sets up the stakes, right? Peter has the symbiote somehow, and Miles is the one who's going to have to deal with that problem. When it takes over and he becomes Venom, Miles is the one that's going to have to deal with that problem. So imagine a boss fight against Peter full-on Venom mode as Miles. I envision that being a thing in the game.
Probably crazy hard, too.
Right, because Peter's eventually going to get to a point where Miles is going to say something. Because why wouldn't he say something, right? This is his friend. Not only his friend, they're protecting the city together. This is their they're a team, Mm-hmm. So it's inevitably going to get to that point where Miles pushes Peter a little bit too far and the symbiote lashes out. And you get that, you don't know what you're talking about kind of moment, which will lead to a conflict between the two characters. So I foresee a, Peter Parker Venom symbiote moment, Miles having to deal with a boss fight like that. Which will be great.
Sick, yeah, right.
And ultimately we'll save Peter and get the symbiote away from him. And then the symbiote will go off and it'll find Brock or whatever it's going to do. I don't know. Because Brock or someone that's not Peter ends up with the symbiote, because the original teaser shows Venom. And Miles and Peter are the ones that see it in the alley, right? So, and we know that Tony Todd is voicing Venom. Well, so imagine just Tony Todd voicing Brock and then doing, what any actor who's played the symbiote has done, whether it's in animation or live action, and just kind of altered their voice a little bit for those moments to sound a little more monstrous.
Yeah, it sounds spooky.
Right? Yeah.
So spooky.
Or they just gave the symbiote an entirely different personality, and Tony Todd is the one who's going to be giving us that personality. Either way, I'm very excited that Tony Todd's going to be in the cast.
Yeah, that'd be
That's a big name, right?
So,
the Candyman.
One of the things that we haven't talked a whole hell of a lot about, just while we're on the topic of Spider-Man, dude, one of the best Spider-Man movies ever is getting its sequel like this week.
I thought it was next week. It's like 2 weeks still, isn't it?
No, it's June 2nd.
Oh, shit.
It's like here. I think it's June 2nd. Let me double check that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Across the Spider-Verse looks great. I'm confused by the marketing a little bit. Just because of my own knowledge of Spider-Man from a comic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Is Miguel the bad guy?
June fucking 1st.
First. Is Miguel the bad guy?
I think so.
Why? Then?
I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Right? When I saw Miguel in the trailer and Gwen and Miles walked in and he goes, "Why did you bring him here? He shouldn't be here." And I'm thinking, but why?
Well, it might
why
not
shouldn't
be
he be here? Is it because he's not Peter? You're not Peter.
It might not be a thing where it's where he's like a protagonist or antagonist. I'm sorry, where he's an antagonist. It might be a thing where he's concerned with like reality getting fucked up by him being there or something along those lines.
Right, but that's also doesn't make sense, right? Because if reality could be affected by all the spider people being or by Miles being here, why don't all the other spider people that are here alter the timeline in some weird way, right? Like, why is it just Miles?
But maybe he's supposed to be doing something at that point in time. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, because the reason they all get together, the reason that we've done the Spider-Verse, and we told this during the story back in 2015 or 2016 or whenever they did that, was because of the weave, right? The Great Weave connects them all. Mm-hmm. The Weaver maintains the Great Weave of reality. The Madam Web's part of that. I mean, we didn't know about the Great Weave during the Madam Web days. She just seemed like this weird, omnipotent, godlike being.
Right.
But the later retcon is, no, it's the Great Weave. That's how they use spider sense. It's essentially like a spider's web.
It's a network.
One of the strands gets pulled on, and that's where the spider sense comes from, right? So is this movie going to introduce Moreland? And the clan that feeds on the spider totem? Because it is a two-part film.
Right.
We're looking at Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 right now on June 1st. Right? So are we going to introduce the spider totem, the concept of the spider totem? Are we going to introduce Moreland?
I fucking hope, man.
Are we going to introduce that universe where Uncle Ben lived and Peter died?
Yeah, and Uncle Ben is now Spider-Man?
Are we going to introduce Captain Universe Spider-Man? The one that's got godlike powers? You know what I mean? Like, the potential for this kind of story based on what we've already seen in comics is endless.
But man, that would be so cool. That would be so cool.
And Dan Slott and Mark Bagley just did, in their Spider-Man comic, End of the Spider-Verse.
Right.
Which was also a really good story that had Moreland have to team up with the spider people because of a larger threat to the spider totem, right? So the weave goes down, the Spider-Men go down, the spider people go down. If the spider people go down, Moreland goes down.
Yep.
They feed on the spider totem's energy. They're energy vampires, right? They don't drink blood. I mean, he did in the original. They've retconned that since.
Sure.
But he's an energy vampire. He feeds off the life force of the spider totem. It's the strongest life force. It's the only thing that sustains them anymore. Which is what the initial story was about in the first place. He was going around to the multiverse, killing spider people.
Getting all them Spider-Men.
Yeah, absorbing all of their energy. So yeah, I have no idea where this story is going to go. I just am confused by Miguel. Look, because Miguel always has been the one that's more worried about the timeline.
Sure.
But if that's the case, him being here doesn't make sense. Because him being here could affect his timeline, right? Without him in his timeline, something catastrophic could happen.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I don't understand what his beef with Miles is. That doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe we'll get some backstory. Maybe they meet and don't like each other.
I'm sure they're going to tell us exactly what's going on, and it's going to be great.
Yeah,
because it's the reviews that it's getting are fantastic. People are calling it the greatest Spider-Man movie ever made.
We get 2 of those with these Spider-Verse flicks. 2 of the greatest Spider-Man movies ever made.
Well, that depends on whether they stick the landing or not, I guess.
Fuck, dude. The first one was
you can
so
set
good,
up a great story. We've seen that in comics time and time again. And if you fail to stick the landing, people will forget about your story.
Yeah, the story sucked all of a sudden. Yeah.
People will forget about it because it had a bad ending.
That's a fair point.
Who still talks about Secret Empire? Nobody. We talked about it one time.
Yes,
to illustrate the toxic fandom, but no one talks about that story anymore because it had a bad ending.
Yeah.
No, the beginning was controversial too, and people got angry.
No, people lost their shit over that one.
But the ending wasn't good either. You know what I mean? Like, I liked the story personally, but I do think the ending was lackluster.
And if you don't, like you said, if you don't stick the landing, well, you didn't do the trick.
Yeah.
You know,
well, now I'm not going to remember your story.
Yep.
Yeah. It's going to go into some compartmentalized part of my mind, and I'm going to forget about it.
If we're watching an Olympic gymnast do a quadruple double flipple dipple,
Quadruple double flipple dipple.
And then they don't land it. You're like, well, that fucking idiot fell.
Yeah.
Like, you're not like, man, did you see the spinnies?
Right,
Did you see the twirlies?
Nobody cares about the spinnies.
You don't think about that at all. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's super exciting, and it's funny because my son came home and he's like, Dad, are we gonna go? Are we gonna go see this? And a new movie theater just opened right down the street.
Nice.
And I was like, you're goddamn right. We are. He's like,
well, you're a big Spider-Man fan, and you've clearly, conveyed that to your children. They're Spider-Man fans. They know.
Well, it's funny. So they've done I don't care for Jordans. It's not my shoe of choice. They've done.
Oh, we're talking about shoes now. Okay, I was like, Jordan. What does that have to do with anything?
They've done Jordans because of the Spider-Verse movies. They've done special lines of Jordans.
Jesus.
And the first
that have spider people on them.
So it's actually the shoes that Miles Morales wore in the movie. They were Jordan 1s, and it was some special variant that they did for Edge of the Spider-Verse, or Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry. Edge of the Spider-Verse is the comic, the prequel. So yeah, they did these special Jordans. Well, one of the giant ads that's running in New York Times Square right now is a fucking Jordans ad for these Spider-Verse shoes, and I'm like, ooh, do I buy them this time? Will I wear them? Probably once or twice, but ever again? No, man.
Probably not.
I'm not a Jordans guy, so it's like, do I want to collect that? It's like getting the Back to the Future shoes.
Well, yeah, I mean, is it something you want to have, not to wear, just to set on your shelf?
Yeah, to go right here so you guys can see it. I don't know.
Look at these cool shoes on my shelf.
Yeah. People
turn it to the side.
People be like, get your fucking shoes off of there, asshole.
Those are display piece. Those shoes are a display piece.
But yeah, I mean, clearly I'm not a sneakerhead. I mean, I'm wearing flip-flops right now.
I'm Converse, man. Yeah, it's always been Converse for me.
I know. Your character, when it was drawn up for Entertainment Geeky, is wearing Converse and a fedora.
My weird Kevin Smith looking superhero guy that you drew for me.
I didn't even draw it.
Oh, that someone drew for me?
Jeff Craig.
All right, Jeff Craig. Thanks, Jeff Craig.
No, he's brilliant, because I was like, hey, will you make a Jason? And he was like, yeah. And then he did it with fedora, chucks.
Oh, no, it's perfect.
It's incredible.
But I saw it and went, do I really look like Kevin Smith? Is that how I look? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like one of those
Blunt Man or Chronic.
Yeah, one of those Blunt Man cartoons,
I guess because he did the trench coat on it. Yeah, but
the trench coat, the ponytail, right? But that was Kevin Smith. Look, the fedora is not Kevin Smith, but if it was a backwards hat, that's a spitting image of Kevin Smith.
That would be fucking Silent Bob at that point.
Exactly.
And you are not a Silent Bob.
No, I got too much to say.
Yeah.
I got too much to say.
Yeah. But Nikes.
That's just weird. Yeah,
isn't it bizarre? But it's
weird little segue there.
It's one of those things as a collector and like as somebody that loves Spider-Man. I'm like, do I need this? Do I need any of it? Probably not. But do I fucking want some of the stupid shit? Yeah, man. I want it bad, so bad.
There are certain things though that people will say, right? Like people say, I need that. Well, you don't really need that. You want that. No. See, I think that's wrong because there are certain things that I need. I needed Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I needed it.
It's a soul thing.
It was not, I want it. No, I need it in my life.
It's about your soul at that point. You're replenishing your life force. You're cleansing those hearts.
Yeah.
The Ganon is corrupted. So yes. That's exactly what you needed to continue to live life in a prosperous way.
Yeah, I think conflating needs and wants, right? Is it something that's absolutely necessary for me to live? Most people would say no. I would argue yes. Video games do a lot for my mental health.
Sure.
And that dopamine and that making me feel good for accomplishing. I mean, shit. When I finished that boss fight, I smoked a celebratory joint. I was like, yeah, that was a victory right there.
Yeah.
Like, that was a real hard fought victory.
I fucking earned this.
I needed that, right? Because again, it does a lot. Like I can come home from a really bad day. And just I don't work at a job that's hard, but sometimes it feels like work, right? Coming home after Free Comic Book Day, I was fucking beat, right? Like that was a day.
Right.
I don't even think we recorded that next day because I slept in.
No, we didn't. We talked. We talked that night actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, stay home.
Yeah.
I was like, don't worry about it because I know your
work day.
You're wiped out.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I don't do a hard job like being a salesperson.
Sure.
Not a hard job. Mentally, it's brain damage. And like, I told my wife that for a long time. I'm like, here, I like it, I deal with brain damage, and then you come home and like that's your time that you try to like veg out a little and realign your chi, if you will.
Right.
You know, get your shit right. And but you've not really done anything physical up until that point. So then you run into the issue of sleep.
Right.
And then you can't sleep appropriately, so it just ups the stressors the next day, and it's like, fuck, dude, it's this awful cycle of you know, not doing manual labor, I suppose.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I should probably do man stuff with a hammer or a drill.
No one ever taught me how to do that stuff. I don't want to do that stuff now. I'd probably hurt myself.
I do it now as a means of it's my justification of my being. I'm like, you know what, dude, I can do this. I know I can do this. So I hung a fan. I didn't electrocute myself, which was fucking the coolest thing, not dying, hanging a fan. I stood on a ladder and didn't fall off of it. Also very impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe not that impressive. And then I used power tools, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe motherfuckers let me buy these. But some asshole at Home Depot doesn't fucking, they're like, are you this dumb? And I'm like, oh yeah, totally this dumb. They don't even do that. There's no vetting process there. So I buy them, and then I go out into the world, AKA my home, and I start using them in scenarios that are extremely dangerous, not only to me, but to my loved ones.
Yeah.
I don't
burned your whole house down.
Don't know how to wire things, but I figured it out. I'm like, oh, this works real fucking good now. Yeah. And there's a fan now. It lights up and it spins.
When we stop doing this, you guys will know it's because Chris's house burned down from electrical wiring that sparked and lit the whole house on fire.
Wiring. They'll be like, what dipshit did this? And I'm like, this dipshit. Yeah. What dipshit sold me power tools? It's his fault.
But no, so, you know, that was what I was saying, though, right? Like, after a hard day like that, after a day that just...
that breaks you almost. Yeah.
No, I need to play video games.
You need a release for sure, and that's
and video games are mine.
That's
or
your
reading
poison,
comic books or whatever, right? But no, I need that. That's very much a part of my life work balance, right? And my balancing my mental health, just as much as it is taking my wife out to dinner, just as much as it is going to see a movie.
Right.
These are all things. No, like I need these things in my life, right? And I envy the kind of people, like holy people, who just give up all material things.
Incredible,
and they're like,
right?
I'm just like, how do you deal with your mental health problems?
What?
And arguably, maybe they don't have mental health problems.
Well, I mean, I think it's like about how you align yourself and your focus and stuff, and it's the hierarchy of what matters to you, I suppose.
Yeah,
and
like
like
the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, and I think your needs shift when you take that on. You redirect your attention, and your needs become different. And I think you get that that fulfillment from maybe the journey of what you're doing at that point in time.
I envy those people that can give up these things, because these things, without these things, man, I would be depressed and probably suicidal.
Right. Well, my wife asked me the other day, she's like, do you want to do hard 75? And it's like some fucking 75-day challenge where it's like you don't get to drink, you have to work out 7 times a day and read books. And I'm like,
that sounds miserable.
I was like, honestly, no, I don't want to fucking do that.
That sounds miserable.
I'm like, I can take measures to correct my diet on my own, and I would like to do that on my terms, not a challenge's terms. And like, I understand what the thing is for. It's to help you create good habits and shit like that, and that's incredible. Right. But I also don't want to go into something like that and just totally set myself up for failure, because I've got so many other things like doing this and work and all that shit. It's like, I don't need that failure on top of everything else. I would like to hone other things, and I can get my diet right, and I can do this, that, and the other, but I can do one thing at a time, and I can build on that. I'll stack some habits or whatever. And it's just, I think that's more appealing. And like, as far as like this stuff is concerned, yeah, man, like I look forward to getting to play D&D. We play every other week right now. And that is such a like fulfilling and great thing. And I honestly, I don't know if anybody else there gets as much out of it as I do.
Sure.
But I don't care. I love sitting there to write out what's going to, some bullet points for what's going to happen.
I'm about to start this Zelda game, and I am very much looking forward to telling this story.
Incredible, right?
I'm excited about the story I've written. I can't wait to run a D&D game that's structured like a Zelda video game.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That sounds amazing.
It's going to be incredible. And it's,
wait.
It's that, that replenishing that you need.
The things that you need, right?
Press on.
People conflate want and need. And it's like, no, these things are needs, man. Like maybe they're not needs for you.
Right.
But my needs and your needs are not the same.
Right.
And they're never gonna be, right?
Well, it's like, dude, you might be the person that likes going out and riding your fucking bike, but that's not me.
Well, yeah, I'm not the healthiest person,
sure.
right? I mean, I'm not in good shape or anything, but I'm happy and I'm comfortable, right? And I'm not unhealthy. I'm just not healthy, right? Like, I have a little extra weight and I eat cheeseburgers, but I do physical things to balance that equation out, right?
said cheeseburgers.
I have literally been, I'm not kidding you, man. I've literally been at the same weight for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think to myself, I'm doing fine balancing my intake with, my control of that intake.
Right.
I'm doing fine. I haven't fluctuated in this weight for 5 years.
I'm doing all right.
It's been the same. It's almost uncanny. And truth be told, there are days, nights, right? At least recently playing this video game where I just didn't eat any dinner. I didn't even think about it until I was about to go to bed at 4 a.m. and I was like, damn, I'm hungry.
There was more important shit going on. There was fucking Hyrule needed saving, and you couldn't be bothered with a fucking meal at that point in time because there was, again, the fate of a world was in your hands.
Now, truth be told, I will then get a snack before I go to bed, like some bowl of cereal or bagel or something, whatever. But yeah, I had a health teacher, and I think this is where it comes from, right? And he was in good shape. Like, he was a powerlifting sized guy, right? One of those guys that looks like they got a gut, but it's like a boulder in their gut.
He swallowed a bowling ball.
Yeah, exactly. I had a health teacher, and he was in high school. It was one at Central, right?
Yeah.
Who used to tell us, yes, you can do these things if you want to maintain and if you want to look like I do. But health is about how you feel. Do you feel okay? Well, then you're probably okay, right? Do you go to the doctor regularly? Do they tell you you're okay? You're probably okay then, right? It's all about what you feel. And it blew my mind to see someone like that cultivate a shame-free class, right? Because you think health class, you're learning about human sexuality, you're learning about healthy eating habits, exercise, diet, these kinds of things. But he never shamed any of us. And he was himself, like I said, just like a Viking man. Yeah. So I think it came from there. He
picked me up with one hand and he said, "You're just fine."
Yeah, he definitely could have. But he always used to say, "Do you feel fine? Well, you're probably fine then." Right? If you're so overweight that it's dangerous, your body will tell you that.
Right. Your knees are going to hurt when you walk.
You will feel bad, right? Your back will hurt. Your breathing will be labored. Your body will tell you that you need to make a change. So if you feel okay, you're probably okay.
That so
brilliant.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was such a brilliant way to teach that class, When it was come to, health and dietary needs and stuff like that, like, if you feel okay, you're probably okay.
Yeah, have your regularly scheduled doctor's visits.
I mean, he told us long before I ever saw that guy on the internet tell us, there are certain things that are just not going to help you. Because even when we were kids, there were diet fads.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Diet fads are not a new thing. There have been snake oil salesmen literally since humans have been around.
Forever, yeah.
So there were diet fads back then, too. And he used to tell us, those things don't work.
It's bullshit.
It's not going to work for you. Because everybody's body and everybody's, ability to lose weight is not governed by the same things within their chemistry, right?
Atkins was the big one when we were growing up.
Yeah, some people, cutting out these things actually helps them. Mm-hmm. But for you, no, you need these things in order to get where he is, right? You need that extra protein because you're a little larger, or you need that extra whatever it is, right?
Right.
Everybody's body doesn't react to the same way. He used to tell us, so like these people you see talking about Atkins and these kinds of things, it's a fad. It's not going to work. It's not going to help anyone. They'll sure spend a lot of money convincing you it will,
right?
But it ain't gonna, because not everybody's body is the same. And I see that guy on the internet talking about that shit all the time now. I don't pay for YouTube. I watch YouTube ads. I don't care. YouTube was not supposed to be paid for. That wasn't the point of it, right? So I'm not paying for it. I don't care how many fucking ads you show me. I'm not paying for YouTube. That was not the point of it. So there's a guy that keeps popping up in these ads. Apparently, he's like a celebrity trainer.
The guy that's like, you can eat donuts and get ripped.
Yeah. Like, that's a snake oil salesman, guys.
He
I'm
is,
sorry
100%.
to tell you that that's a snake oil salesman.
You know how many fucking donuts I eat and how good I feel?
You see him eating pizzas.
He's not wearing a shirt and he's fucking ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Captain America without a shirt on. And yeah. And he's handsome and all that shit.
And apparently he capitalized on that because he's the one who trained those guys. Apparently, like, he was the dietitian they hired to get those Marvel dudes to look like gods.
So he was not the one that particular. He might have worked with one or two of them. There was a particular personal trainer that worked with those guys that actually had them on crazy fucking diets. And I read an article in the writer of it actually went and trained with this guy because he's like, I want to see what these superhero diets and shit are all about. He got chewed out. So the guy's like, hey, you wear this Fitbit. You get 12,000 steps in every day. He's like, it's going to be a pain in the ass at first, but you'll get used to it. You're going to come here. You're going to train. It's 40 minutes of training. We're going to do specific exercises to build up your shoulders, your chest, and your butt so that you look
right, but
more
that's
superhero.
A glamour muscle type thing.
It is,
right?
but
like
that's what most of these guys were doing.
Right, because they don't actually have to be strong.
Right.
That's not the point.
Right. Paul Rudd probably isn't fucking bench pressing a truck, but he looked shredded.
No, he was shredded in that first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, so... You know, that's that.
Chris Pratt went from the fat, lovable Andy Dwyer to the super ripped, sexy Star-Lord.
Yeah, he did.
You know?
Yeah, he was fucking... That dude was jacked, too.
Do you remember how they explained that on Parks and Rec, too?
I just quit drinking beer.
I just stopped drinking beer. The pounds just fell off. That was great. That was a great way to do that.
I just watched like compilation of shit that Ron did in it.
Yeah.
Oh...
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, there was some fucking crazy asshole trainer that worked with a lot of them, and it was ridiculous.
I thought it was
diet.
that guy. A little bit of what he does as part of his advertising in the ads implies that.
He might have worked with one or two people, but for the most part, they went through. I'll look up the name of the trainer.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they went through one person, and yeah, this guy had him eating correctly. He chewed this writer out. That's what I was going to say, for having a glass of wine one night. He's like, no, you don't metabolize shit the same, and I have to get a 6-pack on you. So you're not drinking alcohol anymore.
Sure.
And like 6 months after this writer wrote the article, he's like, I don't fucking do any of that anymore because it's miserable.
Right.
But I still have a little bit of abs, and it's nice. And it's funny because, yeah, I think once you can maintain it, it's way easier than getting it.
That was the problem. Dave Bautista was talking about that, right? Playing Drax.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he started playing Drax, he played it without a shirt on. Well, if you watch Guardians 3, he's got a shirt on almost the whole movie, right? And they never really explained that in universe, but Dave Bautista has gone on record. Do you know how hard it is to maintain that? It's not easy. I'm 50 years old.
Right.
I can't do that anymore. He's like, so I put a shirt on because I was a little self-conscious about it.
Well, your fucking hormone levels and shit change too. Like,
well, yeah, even that too,
getting
right?
older.
Just keeping that tone takes hard work every single day.
Right.
Multiple times a day.
Not fucking donuts, dick face.
Yeah, exactly. We say that as one day in the future we'll monetize the channel and that'll be the ad that plays before our show.
Whatever. I hope it comes up on this fucking video. And you can eat donuts.
Yeah.
That's a fucking total diet that in the early days of Entertain the Geeky, that is so something we would have promoted. We'd be like, you should go on a donut diet. A donut fast.
Donut diet.
A donut fast.
I need a donut diet.
Well, because we used to deep fry shit and we'd be like, are you ready to fucking deep fry this and eat it and have people listen? Because we didn't even do video. It was incredible.
There was no video, but I remember you guys set that little fryer up and would fry things.
Oh my God.
We're doing fried Oreos and fried Twinkies.
One of the greatest things ever was fucking 3 grown men sitting at a table and taking a bite out of a deep fried chocolate Twinkie, and all of us giggled like fucking 14-year-old girls. We're like,
that's fantastic.
It was lovely.
We've done some strange things on this show.
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, we did the Mountain Dew thing with Level
That
1
was
Judge.
strange,
It was
but
weird.
it was fun.
It was fun. I never.
I was sick later, but it was fun.
I did not feel good.
No,
And then
I
we
didn't
went out and
feel
had
good at all.
dinner at fucking Freddy's.
Oh no, I went home.
My wife was like, "You want ice cream?" I'm like, "No, I don't want fucking ice cream."
I just literally drank 3 gallons of Mountain Dew. I don't want any ice cream.
Yeah, and I had Mountain Dew piss water, and one of them, like,
Oh God, I know.
some of them were just foul.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sony, you're doing lovely things right now, and we appreciate you.
We love you. We love games. We love movies. We'll talk about them. We'll review them.
Are we gonna fucking opening day Spider-Man?
I mean, I don't know that I'll go right away opening day. Like, I do like the first Spider-Verse movie, but it was not one that I rushed out to see. I don't like crowds in theaters.
It's different than it used to be.
Yeah.
I really miss waiting in line for tickets.
I don't miss that at all, man. I love being able to just go on my phone and say, here are my seats. We're good to go. We just walk right in. I show them my little QR code and we're good.
Dude,
we go on about our day.
I was telling my kids about like the first Iron Man movie, waiting in line for it, or the Transformers movie,
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I waited in line to get tickets to that.
And I'm like, dude, you would wait in line.
We camped.
I'm like, motherfuckers are dressed up. Some people have been there for over 24 hours.
Yeah.
Just waiting to get tickets.
You had to. People started lining up when Phantom Menace tickets went on sale. People started lining up 2 days before. Yeah. And it was like, if you didn't go down and wait in line, you just weren't going to get tickets. Like, you had to wait in line.
Yeah, with Phantom Menace, I think I had to wait until the second day because I could not get opening day tickets at all.
Well, you're also a little younger than me.
I wasn't.
So you were a child when Phantom Menace came
I was
out,
about 10 years old. So
yeah, I think I was. How old are you?
I'm 33.
So yeah, I was a teenager.
Yeah.
By the time Phantom Menace came, because I was like, I think I was a teenager when.
No,
Phantom
you could
Menace
do your
came
own
out.
thing. I couldn't do my own thing yet.
No, yeah, like we went to the theater and we just hung out there, you know, for hours, the whole day.
I did that shit with Iron Man. I remember, it was my senior year of high school when the first Iron Man movie came out, and I remember going, getting tickets, and it was a midnight showing because opening day used to mean you didn't get to watch a movie until fucking midnight. Not this bullshit that they do now where it starts at 3 p.m. Yeah. That's not that's not opening day. That's an early screening at that point.
Screening.
So yeah, we went there. Didn't get out of the theater till probably 2:30, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Got home, and then I went to school the next day because it was a Thursday fucking night.
Yep.
Because that's when movies come out, is Friday. And man, it was badass, dude. It was so much fun. I remember sitting there in my journalism class, and I was just like, oh, dude, I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't do anything here.
Yeah, I mean, I remember working at the Florissant store and getting so many people to go to those Marvel releases that we would take up like 3 rows of a theater.
Yeah. Yeah. We used
people we knew.
We used to go in a big group and do that. Yeah, it was a blast.
That was all the time.
At
Every
the
time
old
a
Regal.
movie.
Yep.
Well, yeah, every time a movie came out, we went down to the Mills Mall to that Regal Cinema, and I mean, yeah, we would take up at least 3 rows. That was also one of the last theaters that didn't have
assigned seating.
So you just went in and found seats.
So there's a theater down Olive that didn't have it, and then I think this new theater that just opened up, it's a different company. It's not AMC. But
I was gonna say the West Olive one's an AMC.
Yes. So the one,
and then the one on Olive down by Limburg is a Marcus or Regal. It's not AMC.
So there's AMC West, which is like Olive and Page and all that, where all that intersects.
Right there by the Buffalo Wild Wings.
No. Buffalo Wild Wings right here is the one you're thinking of. That's a B&B now. So that's a Missouri-owned company bought that after, because AMC shut it down because things were slow, and they kept the cheaper to operate theater down Olive open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't show up at my house, you fucks.
It's not like you said your address.
No, I know. I'm
just
being goofy.
Yeah, come on. Also, you edit this. You just edit that out.
I'm not editing that. I like the flow of things when we're having a conversation. I'm like, can't have a weird cut there. That'd be fucked up. So it's like, if we say something that's like a little fucked up and it could like exclude somebody, I try not to leave that in there. So like, I don't one of the things when Entertain the Geeky started, I was like, I don't want to do anything political on the show at all because I don't want to isolate anybody or not have, not let them have the outlet with us.
Sure.
That's important to me. So I was always really careful about that. But I've said some fucked up shit here before and like totally scrapped episodes and stuff.
Political world, man. You can't get around that shit sometimes, you know?
And I'm not denying that. But like one of the things that I didn't want to do is when like the 2016 election.
Oh, I don't talk about that. Yeah, fuck that.
Right. It was a weird fucking time. The only thing that Entertain the Geeky did was endorse voting for Loki.
Well, but I think it goes beyond the scope, right? There are certain things about the political world that are well within the scope of what we're trying to talk about.
Sure.
When it comes to inclusion and this being a hobby that everyone can enjoy. But then when it comes to straight politics, that goes beyond the scope of what we're trying to do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to exclude anybody because we're having some fucking right-wing Republican or, left-wing Democrat
we've had conversations
podcast.
on the show. I mean, we've talked about, we did that episode about
social issues are talked
my nerd gripes about nerds who get mad at the wrong thing.
Right.
Right. And something we talked about during that was a lot more of the inclusion that we're seeing now, but that people got really upset about, right? That Captain America is a black man and that Thor is a woman.
But part of it is not understanding how that's coming about in the story. So,
sure.
and like that is one of the things that I brought up while we were talking about it. Most people that are getting pissed off about it don't read things regularly, don't read these books regularly. And they're like, oh, okay, so now you're just fucking taking this established character and saying he doesn't exist, he's now this, or he's now her. Right. And that's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening. You're jumping to conclusions.
Right, but it's a headline that they read and shit.
The problem with that is, and I think we talked about this when we discussed it as well, the problem is with that is there's plenty of stuff that still fits with what you want it to be.
Right.
If you still want to read about Steve,
there's something there for you.
You can read about Steve.
Absolutely.
Right? No one's forcing you to read about Falcon.
Right.
Steve still exists.
Right.
You're like,
well, no.
Right now, him and Falcon are both Captain America.
We definitely went down that road, but that was the thing. It was all, there is something for you in the hobby, and that's why I'm saying, like, yeah, we can say, hey, don't be a racist. Hey, don't be a lunatic. Don't starve people out. Whatever.
Just don't be a lunatic.
It's a cool hobby. There's room in it for fucking everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's all I've ever wanted to promote with it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I've said countless times on the show, right? Is this is for everybody.
100%.
Everybody. Includes everybody. Doesn't include just you. It includes even the people you may or may not agree with.
Yep.
Everybody. I mean, there's something for everybody. If who you are is different than who I am, there's something for me and there's something for you.
Right.
Trust me. It's there. You just got to look hard enough.
Exactly. And it fucking replenishes your soul.
It does.
That's what
it does. Comics turned me into the person I am today.
Well, that's just, I guess this whole episode was about that. We didn't know it, but what was brought to us was this is about the thing that, I guess gives back to you so that you can continue to carry on. And it might be video games. It might be comic books. It might be watching a movie or something like that.
These are needs.
These are needs. Yeah, it's having your cup filled again.
Exactly.
And that's what this episode was. Yay! So you guys can go to entertainmentgeeky.com.
I don't know what that was, but all right.
It's got all over the place. You guys can go to entertainmentgeeky.com. You can follow us on all. Fuck.
You were right the first time.
I know, and then I second guessed myself.
You did.
I'm still holding it though.
Time. Yeah, you got it.
You can go to entertainthegeeky.com to follow us on all of our social media and all that fun stuff. You can also get a free copy of Merle's Truck Stop in Maine by using the promo code Geeky. So you did it too. I know.
I put it up there. It's there. It's there for me.
Use the promo code Geeky. Next week, I'm doing something. I invited you to that.
Yes, I'm hoping to be here. I'm starting a new job Tuesday, so I don't know what my schedule's going to look like
if you
yet.
Can't, no harm, no foul.
But if I can be here, I'm going to be here.
Okay. Yeah. It's going to be in the evening, too, if that makes it any easier.
That's probably going to be easier. Yeah,
okay, cool. It's, so 7:30, we're going to do it. But, so we're going to show you a playthrough on that because you've heard it. You've heard it if you've listened to the podcast, but you've not seen it. So we're gonna make it a seeing eye experience.
That got away from you a little bit there, bud.
I wanted to say seeing eye dog. But I'm like, that's not right. We don't need a seeing eye dog here at all. That'd be awkward. Get your head out of my crotch, Fluffy. Guys, as always, stay geeky.